Hello everybody, this is Shifty back, and I am going to bring you another FP VOD played by Shifty myself in my Diamond League. This is a matchup, and it looks like it is going to be a TVT on Metalopolis, me versus a Arcology. Hey, the teams are evenly matched, and I have realized that a lot of times when you check that the teams are evenly matched, it could be, for example, that the other player is in Platinum League. He could be in a different league, but his record could just be really bad or really good. One time I was actually not slightly favored. The opponent was slightly favored once, and I checked his stats after the game, and he was in Platinum League. He was 29 for 10, so that justifies his good stats. I'm not quite sure how it works in this game. Blizzard hasn't really made it clear as to how the rating system works. I do know you get points, but once you get placed in a division, you can't really move up. So I don't really know how that works specifically. Anyways, TVT Metalopolis, I am going to go for my standard Marauder build. I have transitioned into that from my originally tech build, where I would just go for a lot of tanks really early and a bunch of Vikings, but I have realized that if the opponent does go for Marauders, you are going to get destroyed, because tanks get destroyed so easily by Marauders when there's no other unit to protect the tanks in front. Tanks are great as a support unit, but beyond that, not that fantastic. They are not nearly as good as they were in StarCraft 1, whereas, you know, if you just have a mass army of tanks, you could almost beat any other mass army, say Protoss or Terran or anything like that. So tanks are very valuable. You do have to take care of them. They die very easily, so in order to fully use the maximum abilities of tanks, you will have to use other units, and it is very essential to get Marauders first. And I realize that if I do go for a lot of Marauders and the opponent decides not to go for Marauders, he will suffer a lot of damage, and it will be very tough for him. So that is why I usually go for Marauders. And I do harass the SCV working on the barracks, and he is 5 health, so I am just going to chase, and I do destroy it, but my SCV gets trapped, and he takes out my SCV. But that is alright, because what happens is that was my scouting SCV, which I normally expect to die anyways, whereas he lost SCV in his base, and he still has to send out an SCV, and he might lose that scouting SCV as well. So that is very good for me, and I think I am ahead at this point. Okay, so I do send out another SCV because I want to do a proxy barracks, because I want to do a 2 barracks push with Marauders, as I was saying, but I don't want to give the opponent any indication that I am indeed going to be going for so many Marauders. I want him to think that I only have 1 barracks in my base. This is a very common strategy. It is not entirely a proxy, and oh, look at this! There is another command center being thrown down by the red player, by the opponent. He is throwing it down at the what is that, like 5 o'clock? And I can see it right now. I'm pretty sure he can see me building my barracks as well. So this is very, very silly. We both see each other building up our proxies, but my barracks is going to finish much sooner than his, and I can lift off if needed, whereas his command center is much more valuable. And also, if I do have to cancel my barracks, I do lose a third of the money I spent, so I do lose 50 minerals. But if he canceled his, which he just did, he loses 100 minerals, or more than 100 minerals. Actually, I'm not sure if you lose a third or a fourth, but you do lose a portion of the minerals you invested.
Add-on complete.
Sorry guys, I am on the computer. Okay, anyways, back to this game. I do start pumping out Marauders. I do realize that I am going to get the second refinery up, because I will need more gas, because this build requires you to first get 2 barracks, pump out a bunch of Marauders, and then switch to tanks or Vikings. You can do one or the other. Vikings, you can just fly around and harass and prevent any drops from the other player. Tanks, you can just go and siege up and set up a really good army force. So anyways, the other player is definitely very, very far behind. He is going to suffer a lot of economic damage, because he did invest a lot in that early command center, and it did not pay off. I'm pretty sure he expected me not to be this close to his base. I think he took a gamble expecting me that I was going to be at either the 12 o'clock or the 8 o'clock, but instead I'm right next to him, and oh, it was just so perfect that I put a proxy barracks right next to that expansion. That was just actually very, very fortunate for me. I do set up a bunker outside of his base because I don't want him to move out or take his expansion. That bunker I could salvage later, and it only costs 100 minerals, while it could delay his expansion for a long time, because he will have to get tanks or engage the bunkered units, which most players, I realize, are very reluctant. Even though it is a bunker and there might be only 3 or 4 units inside, players are very reluctant to attack armored and fortified buildings. So it is just the mentality of the bunker there that will force the other player into building tanks. Anyways, I am still building a bunch of Marauders. I do have 2 Reapers out. The Reapers, because I want to go for a little bit of harass. I realized that he is going to be behind on units, and I did see that he bunkered up the choke of his base, so I suspect that he isn't going to be going for anything too advanced right now in terms of tech and the number of units he has, so I just want to do a little bit of harass. I do skirt around the outside of his base, and I scout a command center thrown down, so now I start thinking that, oh, he is going to be even further behind because he is going for the command center. And so I am just sniping a bunch of SCVs while I'm keeping up production. It is very important to keep this up. I say this countless times in my videos, is that when you go and harass with any unit, you have to constantly switch back to your base. Even if you don't want to switch back to your base, switch back at least to your hotkeys and continue production in your base. I always keep up production of SCV because it is so easy to press 4 and S. 4 and S are just so close to each other. So that is just fantastic. I did take out a bunch of SCVs, and the Reapers pay off for themselves very, very quickly if you do get near the mineral line, because a Reaper 3-shots any worker, and so 2 Reapers will take out, they would just take out workers very, very quickly. And I do throw down my expansion here because I realized he already got another command center up with orbital command being researched, so I figured, you know, if he's going to expand and he has that money, he's going to have even less, even more smaller army, so I would justify that by expanding myself. I do move 2 Marauders to the other top, to the 12 o'clock, because I suspect he will float that to that position, because the positioning of the command center, I would think that he would want to float it, or he would want to go for a just like hidden and just don't let me know about it. But I did scout it, and I'm pretty sure that it changes his mentality, because if he didn't want to secretly establish a base there, right when I saw it, I would have sent a unit there as I did, so that would change his thinking. Anyways, I am starting to get out tanks. I have 3 barracks with tech labs, and I am just pumping out a lot of Marauders. Marauders only, no Marines. Marines get butchered. Listen to me. Marines get straight up butchered by tanks. They explode in about 1 shot, and if you don't have combat shield, and if you have combat shield, some upgrades on the tank will still blow the Marines easily, blow them up without any thought. So in TVTs, I rarely ever go for Marines, because the Marines just, I mean, they may be cost effective, but Marauders are better bang for your buck, I suppose you could say, because they do a lot of damage versus armored, and in TVT, almost all of the unit composition is armored. So it is very crucial to get up those Marauders, because they're just so effective against armored. Plus, they have a lot of life. They have 125 HP compared to a Marine, which at most can have 55. And 55, I mean, a tank does 50 damage without any upgrades, so that is just crazy. And you just definitely need the Marauder and siege tank composition. So I do get a medevac out because I don't suspect him to have any Vikings. So when he has no Vikings, it is very good to abuse the drop situation. So I put 4 Marauders in my base. I plan to go and drop on the back. Oh, and I do see 2 Vikings. There are 2 Vikings, so I pull back, and I want to maneuver around the Vikings so I can drop in the back of his. Oh no, he scouts me. This is terrible. So I do have to drop my Marauders, and I actually lose a Marauder and a medevac. So that is a terrible judgment call by my part. I thought his Vikings were just going to continue moving straight to my base.